Look at the Republican Party, for example. I am fascinated by what is taking place in the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell comes out today, and Mitch McConnell basically congratulates Joe Biden. Now, people are like, whoa, this is a big deal that Mitch McConnell came out and congratulated Joe Biden. I think the big deal of this is not that he congratulated Joe Biden, but that he waited this long to do so. It's not like Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden aren't friends. It's not like Mitch McConnell is more in line with the thinking of, let's say, a Joe Biden than it is with, let's say, a Donald Trump. By the same token, McConnell and many of these other Republicans entirely understood that their base would eat them alive if they turned on Trump. They were terrified of it. Now, compare this for the moment to the left. It's not even, they're having a hard time pushing AOC, and not even a hard time. People are angry that somebody would even have the temerity to say, do your job. I'm not one of those people that is a hard ass on AOC. At least I don't think I am. And I don't necessarily think I'm being entirely unfair. I think I've made the point before that I don't think this focus should be entirely on AOC in this conversation. You have like 100 members in the Progressive Caucus. What the hell have they been doing? What the hell have they been doing? And with 100 members of the Progressive Caucus and 74% of the population pushing for Medicare for all, why don't you have it? I guess my thing is this goes beyond AOC, even though I understand she's a lightning rod for a lot of this stuff. Look, frankly, the very fact that the conversation is taking place is different and a positive. Meaning, I know some people keep making this argument that they think it's an argument that I don't necessarily give credence to. Well, you're going to lose the Medicare for all vote anyway. That's almost immaterial in comparison to whether or not you can use the leverage to even do that. I don't even believe that they would use the leverage to even try to get her to do that. Meaning, it is a mind-blowing thing just for the act itself. Just to get the organization and just to get the political will, the spine, to even attempt something like that. I would make the point that even having the conversation in and of itself is a positive thing. Can't even get them to do that. Republicans are terrified of Trump. Meaning the populist right, terrified. The populist left. Fucking act! Do something! I don't think they realize how much of a failure and embarrassment. 74% of the public is backing Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic with 300,000 people dead, 12 million people infected. I think it's like 14 million people infected. 30 million people don't have health care in a pandemic. 74%, not just of Democrats, of the public said, we want Medicare for all. Nancy Pelosi, who wants to be Speaker of the House, said, send prayers. Send prayers. From my assessment, send prayers to get to be Speaker of the House. And she shouldn't be able to get your votes. And the problem with this is the further down you go, the worse your options get. Because it's one thing to do this to Biden. Meaning it's one thing to tell Biden to the tunes of tens of 20 million people saying you're not going to get my vote if you do X. And you have this broad coalition of the public that basically forces a party to accept or not. But at the very least, you get a demand. As opposed to what took place when all of the left laid down. The reason why I'm making the point that this is good is because this is what should have happened before the election. The fact that it happens now for the Nancy Pelosi thing, it's like, yeah, but this is far, far weaker than trying to get what you wanted beforehand. I'm just making the point that the very point of view, the very act, the very fact that the conversation is being had is in and of itself a good thing and a temperament change to action and to being aware and to kind of push your political people that you are putting in office, that you are sending money to do something. That is something fundamentally different that took place over the last 40, 50 years. And I have to be honest, that needs to have the edge to it that you will lose. And I don't mean this for the likes of AOC. I don't even mean this for the likes of Ilhan Omar. The squad is basically taking a hit for 40, 50 years of inaction. It's like anything else. When there's a backlog and all of it finally goes through, the innocent might get hit. That's what this is. So fair enough, I get it. I don't necessarily think it's entirely fair to put all of this on her as an individual. And I get the argument people make. They say, well, she drew this line to herself. She was a lightning rod. Yeah, she was somebody who wanted political change, and I suspect she still does, even though being in the mix, I would imagine she probably thinks there are lines that I have to work between that she didn't necessarily see that was there before. I think part of the problem is that when you're outside of politics, you realize these guys are not your friends. But when you're looking them in the face, it's different. And I think therein lies the rub. And that's why the 20, 30 million people are there. And that's why they should be paying attention. And that's why they should push. And even if it's something like this, I don't think people should get uber focused on the Medicare for all specific on this particular thing. Yes, push. Does it need to exactly be Medicare for all? No, it doesn't need to exactly be Medicare for all. Again, to me, the point is the action itself. The point is that you're able to use leverage in order to inflict political will. And I point out that that is something that the left doesn't tend to do. And it's something that it needs to start doing more often.